Hey guys, Trevor Holt here. It's the 1st of March 2025. I'm at a private property residence looking for, identifying and finding fire ants nests. I've come here invited. In fact, they paid me to be here today. I didn't have to jump any fences. I didn't have to cut any locks. I didn't have to use threatening behaviour, intimidation, or I didn't need to hire police to keep the peace. I'm here creating better outcomes in the community by finding, identifying and treating actual fire ants nests. And that's what we're here today to do, guys. And just trying to set an example for the National Fire Ant Eradication. It's not good enough to use bullying strategies, using threatening behaviour, threatening $16,000 fines and police arrest if you don't comply, misrepresenting your power, and causing harm in the community. There's no need to it. Prophylatically treating fire ants. So all this is going on where there aren't even any fire ants. So it's a ludicrous approach. Whoever thought of it should be sacked immediately. Whoever approved it should be sacked immediately. And whoever continues to implement this crazy scheme should be sacked immediately as well. It's doing harm. And people that think in 2025 in Australia that government can put, especially after the inquiry from the COVID days where not enough emphasis, the decision makers, it found the decision makers didn't put enough emphasis on human rights. And here we are less than a couple of years later, just months after the inquiry was released on the COVID decision makers, that literally said more weight needs to be put on basic human rights. Here we are in a biosecurity environment where our human rights are being denied over a fire ant infestation that's been here for nearly 40 years or probably longer. First discovered in 2001, estimated between 10 and 20 years prior. So here we are, guys, 2025, and we still haven't learned anything from the COVID pandemic, and we're weaponising biosecurity to literally terrorise residents who don't even have fire ants. It's not good enough. And I'm here to say, here I am demonstrating an appropriate response for this fire ant biosecurity hazard. So I've built a relationship with this owner of this property over shared values and over shared outcomes that we want to achieve. This guy, he doesn't really want fire ants on his property. He says they don't really affect his horses or his life, but no one really wants to live with fire ants. So, especially if it's going to make problems down the line. So he's working with me to get better outcomes on his property, which creates better outcomes for the community as well. So by understanding him and his operations, I've learned a lot about what he does and how he operates. His desire not to use excessive amounts of chemicals on his property because he has got livestock and has got horses and sheep and dogs and as most people do. So having a sensible approach where we find and treat actual fire ants is working for him. So and that's what I'm here doing. So I've got my machine here that I'm using to treat these fire ants. It's a hot water machine endorsed by Dr. Joshua King, licensed through the University of Florida to hot water treat these nests. And that's what we're here to do, guys. So again, we don't need to terrorise residents. We don't need to jump fences. We don't need to cut locks. We don't need to misrepresent the dangers of fire ants or exaggerate or carry on like children or spit the dummy because someone doesn't agree with us and act like children using bullying strategies. Arresting a woman in Sanford the other day was arrested for not wanting chemicals on her property where she doesn't have even fire ants. So we don't need to have these sort of stresses in our lives. We've got enough stresses with the cost of living, youth crime, suicide is high, and domestic violence. Our police resources should be focusing on these things, not escorting these bullies onto private property distributing toxic chemicals that aren't required. So here we are, guys. We found a nest here. So here's the nest we just found. It's pretty inconspicuous, just in this long grass here. It's a little bit of a mound, as you can see. So the best thing to identify these fire ants is by their behaviour. So we're just going to try and dig into it a bit. And as you can see, that swarming behaviour, that's what we're using to identify these fire ants. So here's another nest that I can use to direct treat and create good outcomes. So it's important to realise, on average, these nests have mating flights every 13 times a year. That's on average. So between 3 and 24 times a year or something, these ants are flying out of here. Queens by the hundreds or thousands are escaping this nest. So every month that this nest doesn't get treated is creating a worse problem. So by not treating the queens, treating the nests, we're creating a bigger problem. So what we need to be doing is working with it in these hot fire ant infestation zones and treating actual nests to create better outcomes for everybody. And that's what I'm here doing today, guys. Have a good one, eh? Bye.